South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is a Wednesday here on Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Kenny White. Alex White under the weather today. Hopefully we'll have Alex back tomorrow. Kenny, we got a lot to get to here today, though. A busy Wednesday. We on the desk hopefully will not blow a big lead late in the fourth quarter like everyone seemingly is doing in the NBA at the moment.
No kidding. 20-point lead. Just amazing. And without, 2 really good players, 2 starters out of the lineup for Cleveland. They came out to play. They were ready to go, but, they wore down, and Indiana made a great comeback. But, yeah, we'll try not to blow a 20-point lead here this morning.
It was a 7-point game with 45 seconds left, and Cleveland lost in regulation. Almost impossible to do what they did, and that's – again, Indiana, I gotta pull this up before we get into baseball because there's a bunch of baseball games going right now. The Pacers have done something twice. It's only been done 3 times since 1998. Forget playoffs. This is just in general. Since the beginning of the 97-98 season, teams are now 3 and 1,640 when trailing by 7 or more in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime. Indiana's done it twice in 3 games.
Amazing.
In the playoffs. It's madness. The Pacers up 2-0. We'll give you all the updates on the series prices and more a little bit later in the show. But we got to get into baseball here right away.
The Capitals killed my money line parlay.
Yeah, that was...
Both Warriors, Pacers to the Caps. I did bet a 3-team run that.
And the Oilers won too. So it was 3 out of 4 on the Dogs last night.
Yeah, well, I couldn't.
I know you have the role, Kenny. I know you can't go against the home team here in Vegas. All right, let's go to it. Let's start in St. Louis because that's where we got games going today. We'll start in St. Louis and then we'll work down to Milwaukee and Houston. Cardinals and Pirates, Gray and Keller. Good pitching matchup here in this one. Cardinals, again, dominant at home. They beat Paul Skeens yesterday 2-1 behind a great outing from Liberatore. They're minus 180 with Gray today, total 7.5 in this one, Kenny.
I don't have that big of a price on St. Louis here. I know Sonny Gray's really good, but I do like Mitch Keller. I guess the streaks really push my number up. Pittsburgh 6-game losing streak now. St. Louis has won 4 in a row, and that's, you have to adjust to current form and how teams are playing. So using that pushes my number up to about $1.66. So I think I'm right there on the side. The total, I lean to the over, but definitely don't like it with these two guys going on the mound today.
Yeah, this is a stay away. Again, the Cardinals, we've talked about it. Home road splits for St. Louis have been as drastic as anyone in baseball. 14-6 at Busch Stadium, 4-13 away from it. A win today, it'll be 9 over at home, 9 over on the road, right at 500 and 19-19. If they could beat the Pirates, who again, Pirates off to a brutal start, 12-25. If it wasn't for Colorado and the White Sox, we'd be talking about how bad the Pirates are to kick off this season, even with that high-end pitching. All right, we go to Milwaukee next. Valdez and Priester here. Astros and Brewers, 973, 974 on the rotation numbers. Frambers, minus 130. It's back on the opener after a little bit of a bounce earlier in the day on the Astros. Total of 7.5 in this one. Again, these games just about underway here at Major League Baseball.
Yeah, again, winning streak, losing streaks. Astros 3-game losing streak. The Brewers have won 3 in a row. I had this $1.63 before adjusting for those streaks, now down to $1.33. I still leaned to the Astros, kind of, if I say, yeah, you know what, Houston's going to try and avoid this sweep here, and you got your ace on the mound, and I trust him. They haven't hit well for him this year, though, when he's on the mound, but things can change quickly. There's a big advantage, I think, in pitching here in this game for the Astros with Valdez and the bullpen for the Astros. But again, with the streaks, if you're playing streaks and you're using them, kind of a pass game, may lean to the under here.
Look to the under for Kenny. I'm staying off of this one again. Priester's been better than we anticipated it so far this year. Stros, again, have struggled. They've lost the last 2. They lost the series to the White Sox over the weekend, which should not be possible at this rate. And they've lost the first 2 in Milwaukee. So, again, Stros struggling at the moment. We go to Chicago next. Day game at Wrigley to wrap up what has been a very bizarre series between the Giants and the Cubs. Yesterday, Kenny, the Giants only scored 9 in the 11th inning to win 14-5. Game at least was already over, so it wasn't one of those where you get the ridiculous outburst in the ghost runner inning. But a 9-run inning, poor Ryan Presley's ERA went up by roughly 500,000 runs yesterday because of the 8 earned, 0 out outing for him, the Cubs closer. Cubs are minus 60 with Brown today, plus 145 on Robbie Ray, and a take-back total of 7.5 at Wrigley for this one.
Winds blowing in, 60 degrees, winds blowing in off the lake, left center field, 15 to 25 miles an hour. And normally it's the high number in that ballpark. So going to be a pitcher's day. I'm going to go under in the first 5 innings. Robbie Ray is one of my favorites. I think he's a well above average big league pitcher. Ben Brown pitched decent, not great, but decent. So my number on the side is right there. I made it $1.46 for the Cubs. Now there is that embarrassment factor. That was a record, 9 runs. I think it was 9 runs in an inning. If that was a record, or if it was an extra inning record, whatever.
I believe it was an extra inning record.
It's embarrassing, and you remember it, and good chance the Giants were probably out on the town last night in Chicago. So now in a day game, Cubs could bounce back. I could play that angle of playing an embarrassment factor and, betting the Cubs here in this one, but I would parlay it to the under because of the wind conditions here today.
Cubs, again, the offense is mashed, but again, 9 runs in the 11th inning for the Giants. As Kenny said, extra inning record for any team in an extra inning ever in Major League Baseball. All right, we go to Arizona next. We'll just rattle through the whole baseball card here today. Day game in Phoenix. Merrill Kelly, Kodai Senga. The Diamondbacks actually beat Senga a week ago in Queens. Mets are minus 120, Diamondbacks plus 105, total 9.5 in this one. Rubber match here in this game for this series. Again, this actually showed up with these two teams a year ago. Remember, playoff, there's no game 163 anymore. playoff slots are determined by tiebreakers. The Mets and the Braves made the NL playoffs on the virtue of winning the season series against Arizona. Diamondbacks win today. They will take the season series from the Mets because they will be done with each other already here on May 7th.
Big game, I guess, for both teams then at this point. Both these pitchers I really like. Senga's been tremendous. 1.38 ERA, 1.16 whip. But I think Merrill Kelly may be the better pitcher. He's been very, very strong, especially at home. These two locking horns today. The roof will be closed, day game. It's not extremely hot there today. I was shocked. It's going to be really hot in Arizona tomorrow, but hot enough today that it will be closed. Leads me to under again in this game, but I like the first 5 under, and I think these two get in a pretty good pitching duel this morning.
I would lean to the Mets here slightly, but I was really hoping this was going to come like like a flip, a minus 110, something in that pocket. That's not what the market is. This minus 120 is the best number in the market on shore right now for the Mets here today behind Kodai Senga. We go to Miami next. How about an unexpected rubber match between the Marlins and the Dodgers? Marlins walked off LA last night 5-4 in extras, cashing a gigantic price on the fish if you bet them, plus 270. They're $2 dogs today with Belezo on the mound. Logan Knack, minus 240, total 9.5. I would actually look first 5 on Miami taking the half a run in this game. I just don't trust Logan Knack at all. Getting half a run, the last licks as well, plus 15, plus a half a run would be the look I would go to in Miami. Just play the first 5 even in a pitching matchup where really neither guy is overly impressive, Kenny.
You're right, yeah. And neither guy is a guy that has that type of potential to be, I don't think, be above average big league pitcher. I think they're both average, slightly below average, and both guys have been off to a slow start. Amazing yesterday. Quantro's having a horrible year. One of the highest exit velocities off the bats in baseball. And he, kind of worked his way through that lineup and was fortunate to get out of there without giving up a lot of runs yesterday. I ended up pushing that total. I found a 9 over 25 and went over the 9 and got the push. But in game, I went over 8 because it got off to a slow start. I think there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this one again. I made this total 10. There's no way to get a 9 today because I think it's 9.5 over. I'm going to push close to 10. But with these two guys on the mound today and the Dodgers offense, I think it looks like a good over. I might go first 5 over here, Jeff.
Wouldn't mind that either. Again, both of these guys really have struggled so far early in their major league careers. We go to Atlanta next. Reds and Braves. Braves walked off Cincinnati last night, so Atlanta, with a win today, will be all the way back at 500, which is pretty darn impressive for where they've started the season. This is 3 straight wins for the Braves. This is the third of 4 down in the ATL. Grant Holmes and Hunter Green, who has been spectacular to begin the year for Cincinnati. Green's actually an underdog in this game. Plus 105 on the Reds, minus 120 on Atlanta. If you go first 5, Green is favored, but not as big of a favorite as he was earlier. Minus 135 down to minus 120 on Cincinnati first 5 in this one.
Yeah, I think that's the way to look if you're gonna back Hunter Green is go the first 5. The streaks again adjust the betting line. Circa opened this game, the Reds $1.13, and now we're looking at the Braves the favorite, and that's because the 4-game losing streak by the Reds, 3-game winning streak by the Braves. Because you mentioned it, Green's been great. A 0.82 whip on the season so far. 6 2/3 innings, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts so far this year for Hunter Green. So one of the best ratios in baseball right now. He's got great command. He's got strikeout stuff. He's going to be tough to hit. Grant Holmes has been good, not great. It should be a pretty good pitcher's duel, I think, but I did make this total 9 because of the ballpark and the weather's nice. Really tough game for me. But I would look, if I had to make a bet here, I'm not making one, it would be the Reds' first 5 innings.
I'm with you. I'm a little bit surprised that minus 135 didn't hold up, at least first 5-wise on Cincinnati. Surprised that the market has been as aggressive they are. And I know Holmes has pitched better than anticipated this year, but Hunter Green's been a top 4 pitcher in the National League to begin the year. And the Reds, I know, Kenny, you put more in on streaks both ways. The Reds on a losing streak, Braves on a winning streak. There is something to be said about being the quote-unquote stopper of your staff.
Yeah.
You need a big outing from Green here today, and you're facing a weaker starter for Atlanta. So at first 5, I think that is the look.
I tell you what, looking at the offenses the last 7 days, man, they've both really struggled. Both are hitting 197 slugging percentage. The Reds just 278, the Braves 321. Weighted runs created, the Reds 56 and the Braves 66. So I'm now pushing myself to maybe a first 5 under with these two pitchers going in the way the bats are right now.
If you want that, you can get a 4. You can get a flat 4 in a game that's a 7.5 if you want to go under first 5 on that one. All right, let's go to Sacramento next. It's been a pretty drama-laden series so far in Sacramento between the Mariners and the A's. This is a rubber match. A's walked off the M's on Monday night. Mariners with a big 9th inning capped off by Cal Raleigh's 2-run single to give Seattle the lead for good in a 5-3 win for the M's. Has this series knotted at 1 apiece. Brian Wu, they'll be hoggling on the other side for the A's making his second career start. Plus 120 on the A's at home, minus 35 on the M's, 9.5 juice to the under in this one in West Sacramento.
Yeah, I'll be looking to fade maybe Hoagland after that first big league start, and I talk about that a lot, that that first big league start, you really don't get the gist of it, where you're really at. You know, you've dreamed about being there forever, and you get there, and I've seen so many guys just throw a great first major league start, and then after that, it's, you know, hey, party for 4 days because of your accomplishments and your achievements, but you only accomplished 1 game, and Brian Wu's been really good. I like him, one of the best strike throwers in baseball. 38 strikeouts to just 7 walks. He's been outstanding with the whip, 0.83 because of that control, 2.58 ERA. So big win for the Mariners last night. They've been playing great baseball. I think there's a really good spot for them. I'm going to lay the price with Seattle today, Jeff.
Don't blame me on that. It would be only a look to the M's, who again are playing some great ball right now. They're actually hitting, which has always been a concern with this team. If they hit, boy, the AL could run through the Pacific Northwest for the first time ever. Again, one of the team that has never made the World Series, amazingly enough, out of the American League, the only one left in the AL not to ever make the World Series. All right, let's go to Boston next. Mahle and Houck, your pitching matchup, Rangers and Bo Sox at Fenway tonight, minus 30 on the Sox, plus 15 on the Rangers. Behind Eovaldi yesterday, Rangers won 6-1, and Eovaldi was brilliant yet again over 6 innings. Total 9.5 in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to check the weather. I do believe it's blowing out today in Boston. Not sure this is a 6:45 game with these pitchers. I really look to go under.
We are 6:45. It is a wind, but not particularly strong going out, between 5 and 8 miles an hour. So not the strongest of winds for that one here tonight in Boston. And it is going to dip into the low 60s by the middle of the game.
Yeah, and that's not bad for athletes. They're running around. The 60s is pretty decent. Southwest at 10 miles an hour, down to 9 miles an hour, and then 8 late in the game. So, but it's a little bit of a help to the hitters here, knowing they got that wind behind their back. But you know, it's still got to barrel it up to hit it out, and both pitchers have pitched really well. Mahle, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Taylor Mahle. Yep.
Taylor Mahle. He likes to change. I look to me, it's like I know I mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago. I call him Maul. But we'll go with Mahle since that's what he wants. But he deserves it with his 1.19 ERA.
Been awesome to begin the year. Houck has been a mess on the other end for Boston to begin this season. Even though those numbers really got destroyed by that epically awful outing against Tampa, where he gave up 9 runs in less than 3 innings.
Yeah, I'm amazing to me looking at these medians for these two pitchers, and Mahle. On the road, just 2.5 strikeouts. And this is probably a small sample size, obviously. So they've only had 6 starts. He may have only had 2 starts on the road, but 6 innings, 5 hits, just 1.5 walks. Houck at home has been really good. 6 1/3, 4 hits, 1.5 runs. So to me, this looks like another game that first 5 innings under the way these two guys have been pitching. I'll go under there, even with the weather the way it is. I think I'll be good there because I do believe Houck pitched a good game his last time out.
Yes, he did.
But the time before that, so I think he's starting to round into form a little bit.
Look, he's a very talented, very talented guy. Last time 7 innings, 1 earned in a 4-2 win, or excuse me, a 4-2 loss, where the bullpen blew it. But Houck did his job over 7 in Toronto. Again, really the whole ball wax for Houck this year. Just really his whole numbers got blown up by that one awful start against Tampa where he gave up 11 earned runs in 2 1/3. That's not good.
No, and that destroys your ERA. So that's, when numbers do lie sometimes. When you look at his overall body of work so far, 3 of his last 5 starts have been well above average. His median actually is 50 cents better than the average big league pitcher over that time. And that Tampa start is in that equation. So that's why I like to use medians. I don't like to use averages. And I trust both these pitchers. So I'll go under.
We go to Kansas City next. The Royals and the White Sox. White Sox lost in hilarious fashion again last night. A drop pop-up that hit Chase Medroth in the hat. That ended up extending the inning, and the winning run ended up coming home because of it. Royals are minus 220 here tonight with Waka, Jonathan Cannon on the other side, plus 98.5 your total for this one. Royals very quietly have gotten to 21-16 after really having a bad stretch in the middle of April where they couldn't really score. Yeah, nice little, Bobby Witt's been tremendous. What a year he's having, and he's a great player, deservingly so. 4-game winning streak by the Royals puts my number at $1.97, so it's right there. My total of 8. Weather's not great in Kansas City. Little bit of chill in the air, and it's not going to affect them, a whole lot. It is a 6:40 start, but I believe it's in the 60s there. As you mentioned in Boston, and I said that's not going to bother them. That probably won't bother these guys here either. But I do like what I've seen out of Waka. 3.52 ERA, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs in his median start. And I think the numbers are right there. I'm kind of trying to make a case to come up with a play, but I really don't have anything. I'm going to just pass there. It's just too big of a price on KC, even though they probably will win. Yeah. It's just a matter of if you want to lay the run line, you're laying 105. But again, could very easily win this game by a run. Again, I don't know if you saw that play last night. I did. It was pretty bad. Yeah. It was pretty bad. Just total misjudge and clunked him right in the hat. So look like a little ligger. Yeah, pretty much on that one. All right, and another thing, Jeff, on games like this, this is the end of the series, or do they play tomorrow? I don't know. So Kansas City and Chicago will have one more tomorrow afternoon in Middle America. So that's good for focus for the Royals because get out of town games are tough because you're thinking about that for some reason. You gotta pack your bags, and sometimes you're excited to get out of town and can't wait to go, but they don't have any of that on their minds. That'll be tomorrow. So you're going to get a focused Royals team. Might be for me, if looking at a game like that, would be with that 4-game winning streak, Royals in the first 5 minus a half, because you're going to get your full complementary of at-bats. We're moving along here to Minnesota and Baltimore next. Orioles will throw Charlie Morton tonight against the Twins. It'll be Simeon Woods Richardson. Twins blasted behind Pablo Lopez's good start, 9-1 yesterday, win over the Orioles. Again, Orioles just continue to struggle. Second, after last night, second worst record in the American League at 13-21 for that team with all that young talent, off to a horrible start. Plus 115 with Morton if you wanted, minus 30 on Woods Richardson, total of 9 at Target Field tonight. Yeah, I'm going to be all over the Twins here in this game. Wanted to look at Charlie Morton, and I think he they put him back in the bullpen, put him in the pen. So, you mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think, something about Carlos Carrasco. Mm-hmm. And, it's amazing. You're not a general manager and you're not getting paid $1 million a year to be a general manager. I wish I was. But you knew
You knew that Carlos Carrasco was not a big league pitcher.
Not anymore, at least. Yeah.
And now he's not because they sent him down. And I didn't think he was either. It's just amazing that these guys that are getting paid $1 million a year can't figure out, why are we wasting innings with him? He's an innings eater. Is that what we're trying to do? Or should we bring somebody up from AAA who is ready and maybe we don't know, and if you give the guy a shot, maybe he'll respond. At least he's going to get some experience, and we can use him as trade bait because Carlos Carrasco's not trade bait, that's for sure.
You got DFA.
Nobody wants him.
You got DFA. It'll be open to anybody in about 5 days. I would be shocked if anyone wants him at this point in his career.
Why am I there? Because we're not even talking about the Yankees, but we're talking about Charlie Morton.
Similar sort of thing at this point.
And Charlie Morton at 41 years old, one of the best spin rates in baseball for years, but it doesn't look like he has that now. The number's horrific. And just because he was sent to the bullpen, I don't think he's ready to get big league hitters out. His last 2 games, he faced 18 hitters and only struck out 2 of the 18.
Eey.
So he can't get it by anybody anymore. Twins on a 3-game winning streak. I like Minnesota here. I'll lay the price and just fade Morton, and maybe I'm going to play also, not maybe. I'm going to do first 5 with the Twins and for the game.
Don't blame me on that. Don't blame me on that at all. Twins playing a little bit better. They've gotten it back to 4 under. Still a ways to go, but better than it had been. It'd been really, really lean for Minnesota for a good chunk at the start of the year. We go to Anaheim next. It's Kikuchi and Berrios. Angels behind a 6th-run 8th inning last night. Come from behind, win 8-3 over the Jays. Berrios is -15. Kikuchi's even money, total 8.5. This would only be a look to the Angels here for me with Kikuchi on the mound for them. I'm just not a Berrios guy at this point in his career. Gives up too many homers for my liking. Too inconsistent. He is coming off of a really good start against Boston. I just don't like the consistency at all, though, for Berrios. So I would look to the Angels here at that even money price here tonight, Kenny.
Yeah, when I coached kids in baseball and loved pitching, loved the mechanics of pitching, kids would fall in love with the curveball. Mm-hmm. That's all they wanted to throw. Let me throw the curveball. Let me throw the curveball. Name one pitcher that is known for his curveball. And they couldn't give me an answer. For me growing up as a kid, there was only one guy, and it was Bert Blyleven. And he had the best curveball in baseball. He's a Minnesota Twins pitcher, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
But other than that,
Kershaw's the one that comes to mind for this era, but he had other options. So.
And I think his slider might be better than his curveball. But my reasoning to the kids was, name me the guys who throw fastballs. Who's got the best fastball in baseball? They could name 10, 12, 15, 20 guys off. And I said, that's because the fastball's the best pitch in baseball. The changeup's the next best pitch in baseball. Forget about the curveball. Why am I there? Jose Berrios, one of the best curveballs in baseball. But you know what? When that curveball hangs, it goes a lot further than a fastball does. For some reason, off the bat,
helicopter.
I've seen some hanging curveballs before go a long, long way, and I think that's what gets Berrios in trouble. And you mentioned it, the high home run rate. It's because this guy is, he's an off-speed guy, and those type of pitchers, I don't like pitchers who play around with the corners. Go attack the hitters. I think Berrios is that kind of guy. He doesn't attack hitters. He tries to methodically get them out, and you're right. I don't think he has the great stuff. So I may back the Angels as well here. Kikuchi pitching against the Blue Jays, who he had pitched with the Blue Jays, and I think it's a good spot for them after last night's comeback win too.
Absolutely. And again, the Angels really on hard times up until that win last night after a really good start early in the year. All right, we go to Tampa next. It's Philly and Tampa, Rays, Phillies, Sanchez and Baz, your pitching matchup. Good one there at Steinbrenner Field. Phils won 8-4 yesterday, so we were on Wheeler. Won first 5, won the full game, so everything got home in that one. -40 on Sanchez here, Kenny. Total 8.5, plus 125 on a takeback on Tampa. Baz has been the best pitcher for the Rays to begin this season.
Yeah, he has. He's been really good. Can kind of make a case. Sanchez has been right there for the Phillies. 3.45 ERA on the year. And he's a guy that they win. When he's on the mound, they have confidence and they win for him. I made him $1.14. I don't have a play on the game because I do like Boz, and I like what I've seen out of Boz. His median start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. It doesn't really get much better than that. So he's going to be tough. Now, yesterday, Alex was was going to make a case for the under, and I don't blame her for the pitchers who were throwing yesterday. But when I told her the weather in Tampa in the mid 80s to start out with high humidity, the ball's going to really carry, and it did. They scored 12 runs in that ballpark with good pitching. It's going to be warm, and it's going to be hot again tonight. So there's a chance that this could go flying over, even with the pitching that you're seeing there with Sanchez and Boz. So I'm going to go over in this game, Jeff, because of the weather.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. And again, the bullpens, neither bullpen has pitched particularly well to begin the year either. Last night, it was the bullpens. They gave up the bulk of the runs.
True.
It was 7 of the 12 came against the bullpens in the last 2 innings last night. Wheeler pitched well, and Rasmussen actually pitched fine last night. It just was a little bit unlucky early in that game. Phils, though, -40 here tonight. We go to the Bronx next. Rubber match between the Yankees and the Padres. It's been big late innings in this series. Padres with the big 8th 2 nights ago to take game 1. Yankees put up a 10 spot in the 7th last night in a game that was the final score is not indicative to how tight that game was for the majority of the game. Yankees win 12-3, but that was 3-2 Padres going to the bottom of the 7th inning last night. Fried, who's been awesome in his early Yankee tenure, -175 against Dylan Cease, who has not been himself to begin this year. Total of 8 in the Bronx rubber match between 2 of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, Fried got to be the favorite to win the Cy Young Award in the American League the way he's pitching right now. 44 innings already for him, 1.01 ERA, 0.94 whip, and the bullpen's been really good. So, I made this game. I made the Yankees $1.42, not quite as high as what the numbers are out there. I still had to give Cease a decent pitching rating. Padres bullpen has been good. My total 8 here. So I'm pretty much right on the numbers, but with Max Fried pitching and the way he's been pitching, I have to make a case first 5 under, because Dylan Cease knows what he's up against. And I know when guys like this that have really good stuff know what they're up against, you get great focus out of them and they pitch really well. So I think this one's going to be lock horns and under in the first 5 for me.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's just a matter of what version of Cease are we getting here today. Fried, as you mentioned. Right now, Fried is the 3rd favorite in the Cy Young race in the American League. Only Skubal and Crochet with shorter odds. Not much of a shock that it's those 3 top lefties at the top of the league in the AL. All right, last one in Denver. Game did get rained out last night. We talked about that the weather looked awful. They banged that game early last night. Didn't even mess around. It's going to be Job and Dollander again. Assuming we get it, weather doesn't look great again in Denver. They should have a window later in the night, but this could get delayed. 10 on the total, -70 on the Red Hot Tigers, +155 on the lowly Rockies in this one.
Yeah, Job has pitched well for the Tigers, and as mentioned last night, with these two, the way they're going, there's only one way to look. These teams are going in opposite directions. So the Tigers would be a play for me in this game. I'd lay the 1.5 for the game, or play the first 5 and lay the half a run with the Tigers. I think, to give yourself a manageable price here. Dollander off a nice outing, but again, big leagues. There's a lot of zigzag with the way these guys pitch, and the Rockies still just struggling, a 3-game losing streak coming into this. So, give me the Tigers, Jeff.
I don't blame him. Detroit is bombarding everyone right now. They hit the most home runs they've hit in a calendar week in franchise history last week. So they again 22-13, best record in the American League. And by the way, Cleveland is getting handled early in Washington, a game that started before we were on the air, 3-0 Nats in the bottom of the 5th in DC.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I noticed that on my sheet. It was, since it's the last game on the sheet, but offensively the last 7 days. The Tigers, a 170 weighted runs created, number 1 in baseball. Number 30 in baseball, the Rockies with a 37. Right. So you've got the number 1 offense over the last 7 days against the number 30 offense. And you have a pitching matchup Job, the better pitcher right now, and has pitched better. So, yeah, I think it's a good spot for betting the Tigers today.
All right. That was the baseball card here for today. We'll get into hockey and the NBA on the back end in the show here today. But first, the trivia question is going to come in the bottom in a moment. But something new here on the show. Yesterday, we check in. We're going to check in every Wednesday, I should say, on what we call now Hook, Lines, and Action with Chris Andrews right here on Sports by the Book.
2 minutes with Sportsbook Director Chris Andrews. Excited to talk with you today. A lot happened over the weekend. Let's start with NBA and NHL. 4-0 underdogs in the second round. How did that affect you guys, or did it actually help? Because I imagine a lot of people probably had the favorite parlays going.
If you have too many dogs, a couple people had like those last 3 dogs on the money line, paid like about 75 to 1. It doesn't take too many of those. And there's a few, not many. Overall, the last couple of days were very, very good. We actually needed Oklahoma City to hold on and win that game. Would have been a little bit better. I think OKC will definitely bounce back. I think that Celtics series, most people just had the Knicks as like an afterthought. The Knicks are a really good team. I don't know if the Knicks can win that series, but I don't think it's going to be a breeze for the Celtics.
I want to ask you about the Kentucky Derby. Most bet, right? Each year it kind of one-ups the year before. Is that still true?
Well, it did this year. Certainly was a lot better than last year, and I don't know why, because there wasn't that one horse people identified with, but it was a really good field. A lot of stiffs win the Kentucky Derby. Not so this year. I think it was a really good field and a very good horse won it. Was reflected in the betting. We had a terrific action, a terrific crowd here.
How has overall baseball betting been for the books and for the bettors?
April was very good for the bettors. All those home teams did very well. Really were rewarded, the bettors. The Padres are on a big streak right now. Just beat the Yankees a couple games in a row. We have a big Padre contingent here that bets them. They're very loyal fans. Dodgers are going to be tough all year. Yep. The American League's really wide open, I think, at this point. In the National League, somebody's going to have to beat the Dodgers, but between the Giants and the Padres in the same division, that all of a sudden, that's a very tough division. I think the bettors did very well with the Stanley Cup, too. It was handle was great, but a win wasn't so great for us.
Wow. Of course, moving on to round 2 for both NHL and NBA should be a lot of fun.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book. Wednesday morning, Jeff Parles, Kenny White alongside. Happy to be with you as always. We shift gears to hockey and the NBA, but first in the chat, Roger Long all over baseball today. Padres, the under in the Rockies, in the Yankees and Padres, and just going against the Rockies. And you know what, in all honesty, you're going to be in pretty good shape going against the Rockies more times than not this year. So,
no doubt about it. Especially against, when good teams go in there, and it is a hitter's ballpark. When the weather warms up, it's going to be a great opportunity to go on the run line against the Rockies.
100%. And I'm curious to see, with how bad that pitching's been, how high do those totals go as well in Colorado? We've seen plenty at 12.5s, 13s up in Denver. It could very easily be that, especially with how bad the pitching is on the Rockies side. All right, let's go to the NHL. We begin with last night first. Road teams 2-0. Caps had their opportunities, but the Carolina Hurricanes get it done in overtime last night, a 2-1 win for the Canes, and probably not a good sign for Washington in a game where Logan Thompson stood on his head for the majority of the match, and they still can't get it done. It's probably a bad sign moving forward for the Caps, who are now in this series a plus 310 dog right now. Not good on that one. Canes all the way up to minus 370. And then Kenny, just down the road from us, it was a similar game flow of Game 5 against Minnesota for the Knights. High-end first period, have the lead after one, and then they get pretty well outplayed the rest of the way. 3 third-period goals for Edmonton, though, to steal Game 1 on the road, 4-2. Game goes over the total of 5.5 and plus 120 on Edmonton.
Was the total 5.5?
Closed it, yeah.
Oh,
Closed,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't actually
closed
realize
it
that it got that low. Wow. Pretty amazing. I'm going to go with the Caps first, though.
Please.
They got the lead in the second, going to the third, 1-0. The problem was that Carolina defense is so suffocating. They had 14 shots on goal the entire game. That's just amazing to me. Carolina had 33 shots on goal. So big advantage of offensive and defensive schemes here. And that might be the matchup problem, that Carolina's game and how they play hurts the Capitals here. We'll see what the adjustments will be in Game 2. A lot of money on Carolina yesterday, and I said, I can't understand it. I don't understand why, because Washington has been such a good home team and they've been such a solid team all year long. I don't see any injuries. So I'm going to be right back on the Capitals in Game 2 in a really must-win situation.
Yeah, it's a got to have it tomorrow night for Washington. We'll break it down further tomorrow.
Yeah.
Caps are a plus 115 dog, and I think I'll be following you on that. I think I'll be on Washington for the second consecutive day in the NHL. And then on the Vegas end of things, Kenny, I mean, how much can you really is there an issue now for VGK? Edmonton, I mean, after the first period, Pickard was great last night, but he wasn't really tested. It was really, again, a game that Edmonton, the last 40 minutes, very much outplayed the Golden Knights just down the road from us.
Yeah, I was watching the second period, and then the Golden Knights had a couple of penalties, and Edmonton on the power play, I'm thinking, oh, this is not good for the Golden Knights, but yet they held off 2 power plays that I watched. I thought they did a really good job. I thought they had some momentum going their way, and I was very surprised that it was a scoreless second. I thought, well, go into the third. This is an advantage for the Vegas Golden Knights. I got to come back with them, though. Again, you can't lose the first 2 at home. You have to be ready to play, and I think they will be for Game 2. Their defense, it's been very, very good, except for the third period in this last game. So I think we'll talk again, but both those games
we'll break them down further.
We'll
tomorrow,
break a lot those 2 down tomorrow, but yeah, I'm expecting both those home teams to bounce back.
Minus 30 right now on VGK for Game 2 tomorrow night.
And again, maybe no reason to rush. I'm always a big proponent of betting early. If you have a really good opinion, you're doing good work, and you want to bet the earliest lines you can, because the majority of numbers should go your way. But I'll tell you the one thing, with a lot of money come in for Carolina yesterday, and they could come back tomorrow. You could get a much better price waiting on that game.
Wouldn't shock me one bit. Let's go to Toronto for Game 2 tonight. There will be no Anthony Stolarz. He is out officially after taking that cheap shot from Sam Bennett in the head yesterday, 2 days ago now. So Joseph Wall is going to get the start for Toronto in net. And the backup for the Leafs tonight is Matt Murray. It's a name who I've not heard in a very long time. Obviously won multiple cups in Pittsburgh,
right,
almost a decade ago now. But it will be Wall getting the start tonight. No Stolarz, still no timetable, so that's alarming moving forward for Toronto. The Leafs, who of course took Game 1, even losing Stolarz midstream, are plus 120 at home tonight. Panthers minus 40, total 5.5 on this Game 2 north of the border, Kenny.
With the backup, Walt was the guy I thought would be the starter. He was the starter most of the season. They played well for him, 27-14 record he had. But Stolarz came in and really solidified the defense and goals against average. Over a half goal better for Stolarz, and in the save percentage, 17% better, 0.7 save percentage better. So Woll didn't look good the other night coming in, maybe a little rusty. Toronto's going to have to score goals tonight. they're going to have to score goals. So I like it over the 5.5. Florida's pretty tough to stop, and Toronto's got enough scorers, and it is good ice up there in Toronto. So I'm basically going over Jeff because of Wool.
I don't really blame you on that. I think this is a good over game. Plus 120, and there's plus 125 readily available in the market as well. As well as Stolarz has played in this postseason, I'm kind of with you. I don't think there's a huge drop, if there is even a drop here. So it would only be if I'm betting aside, it'd only be a look to the Leafs. I'm going to stay off of it because I have that series price, and I don't want to really, and I won with game one. I really don't want to start messing around and taking more than I need to here in this series. But I lean to the over, and again, game one went flying over as it was anyway. So two of the best offenses in hockey to begin with.
Yeah, I bet Toronto that game one really looking for a letdown from Florida. You're coming off beating your biggest rivals and knowing you're kind of an underdog in your mind because you know you're playing 4 games in Tampa. So you win that series and you win it pretty convincingly. I just don't think they had the great focus here in this one in game one. I think they're going to be a lot more focused here. So I'm not betting Toronto. I'm just betting over tonight.
Going to the other game in the NHL tonight, another north of the border action. Game one, Dallas and Winnipeg. Now, this is an interesting line game because Winnipeg has taken a lot of action at a lot of other shops, except for here at the South Point, where Dallas has been the side that's been bet. They're minus 125 here at the South Point. Jets are down to minus 107 at other shops right now, minus 103, I should say. So Winnipeg is getting hit up pretty good here early this morning in some other shops on game one. Series price hasn't really moved. Still plus 160 here at the South Point, plus 150 elsewhere. I'm on Winnipeg. I took that plus 160 for the series. I'm not doing anything in game one. Obviously, I'd like for my series price to not look worse. I'd like Winnipeg to get it done here tonight. Unbelievable goaltending matchup, though, in the series if Hellebuck is right between Hellebuck and Ottinger here.
It really is. Great goaltending matchup. Both these teams can score, too. I am surprised to see Dallas the favorite. So as long as Shoffley's available for the Jets, because he is their main guy and main scorer, and he's a leader of that hockey team, I think the Jets should be the favorite at home. So I'll be betting Winnipeg tonight and hoping Hellebuck can, use his magic at home here. And he has had the playoff yips, I would say, a little bit over the years, as good as he has been in the regular season. But again, a winning series could get you some confidence that's what he needs. So I think if the price is right for the Winnipeg Jets tonight.
Hey, look, it was important. Like, obviously, you got to get through, but when stuff like what happened at the end of Game 7, where you're down 2 goals with less than 2 minutes to go and you force overtime as a team that had the best point total in the NHL during the regular season, President's Trophy winner. That's the type of things that happen when you go on a monster run to a final or maybe even lift the cup for the first time in franchise history if you're Winnipeg. I'm with you. I'm stunned Dallas is favored in this series. I think this is – I know there are injury concerns on both ends, but all right, even with the injuries, Dallas should be what, minus 130 at the most?
Yeah.
And even that I think is pushing it without home ice.
Yeah,
it was too good of a price for me to pass on. Ken.
Yeah, I agree. A good friend of mine, Tim Doyle, would always say they're playing with house money.
Yep.
Winnipeg is. And when you're playing with house money, you're usually a lot better.
Well, we get to go to the NBA now. And speaking of house money so far, Kenny, first time in NBA history, the road team has won all 4 game ones in round 2. The road teams are 5-0. The underdogs are 5-0. To begin this second round, which is, look, Kenny, we've talked about it plenty. The NBA playoffs are known for favorites winning and covering for the most part. And the dogs are 5-0. The Pacers yesterday is a $4 underdog. We already mentioned it earlier in the show. For the second time in 3 games, came back from 7 down in less than a minute to go in regulation or overtime and won the game. The Knicks, of course, were plus 335 in game 1. The Nuggets, who had a frantic comeback, were plus 425 in game 1. And then Golden State last night even though we got a lot to talk about with that because Steph Curry looks like he's going to miss the rest of this series now with that strained hamstring. Plus 230 was the cheapest price that won in these first 5 playoff games here in round 2. So unprecedented in every which way so far to begin the second round of the NBA playoffs.
No doubt about it. But, I think that's, talk a lot about, I'd rather be an underdog player than a favorite player because you win 2 ways. You win with the points or you win straight up. And in these situations, you were able to win straight up. And if you bet some, sprinkle on the money line in those spots, you come out with a nice little profit to start these rounds. I'm extremely happy with the outcomes that we've seen so far. And these are good basketball teams. It's not like these are bad basketball teams. It's just that Oklahoma City, Cleveland, and Boston have looked so good in the regular season and through the first round of the playoffs. They did look unbeatable. But hey, the Knicks have, they've stepped up. The Nuggets, we know they've got championship pedigree and they got the best player in the NBA on their team. The Indiana Pacers had a really good year last year and got knocked out of the playoffs early. This year, they were ready for it. And I think they've really built a really good team in Indiana. So that series isn't over with, though.
It's not. It's not. They have 2 days off now for Cleveland to get a little healthier as well. Again, no Mobley, no Garland last night. And they controlled the game until the last minute of the game last night.
That's the NBA, though. When there's injuries and your guys are out, everybody steps up. And that was the case last night with Cleveland, except for Ty Jerome. He couldn't make a shot. It felt bad for the guy because he's really a good player and he's had a nice year. But I think that they lose a lot of quickness. Without Garland in the lineup, they lose quickness, and then you lose Mobley and his versatility offensively and defensively. I thought they lose a lot. So I wasn't surprised that Cleveland grabbed the lead early. I was surprised that they were able to build it to 20, but I knew there'd be a comeback by the Pacers. But sometimes you worry and you start to think, well, are they happy to get out of Dodge 1-1 and going home? But they weren't. They really, they played really well in that fourth quarter. Their defense stepped up. For a team who's known for offense, the defense stepped up.
Well, and again, last night, just a lot of weird stuff happened at the end of that game. Intentionally missing the free throw, getting your own rebound, and then that shot Halliburton threw in to win the game. Just cold-blooded. By the way, Halliburton is now 7 of 8 this year on shots that either tied or took the lead in the last minute of the fourth quarter this year. That's some clutch gene.
He's going to be he's the new Iceman.
Look, even though Reggie never won a title, Reggie was clutch there in Indiana. So
yeah.
Nice error for that. Real quick, one more note, because we'll break down Minnesota and Golden State tomorrow because it's the only game on the board. So Curry has a strained hamstring. Based off what Steve Kerr said last night, I would be surprised if we see him again. We definitely won't see him tomorrow. I know that. I would be surprised if we see him again in this series, which obviously tilts this heavily to Minnesota. Wolves are still favored in this series. They're minus 185. There's really only a 5-cent move off what the series opened at because of the injury to Curry. There's also one other thing regression-wise for Minnesota that should regress to the positive, Kenny. Even though they won Game 5 in L.A., obviously lost last night, Minnesota in their last 2 games is 12 of 76 from 3.
Wow.
Positive regression should show up at some point for Minnesota, who is the 6th best three-point shooting team in the NBA this year.
Yeah. So a couple things. One is I'm an expert on hamstrings.
Okay.
Pulled my left one 4 times and my right one twice.
Oh, jeez.
So I know a lot about hamstrings, and they are an injury that can keep you out 4 to 6 weeks. That's if you pull. He's got a strained hamstring, and I've seen this before with kids that I've coached, and even in myself, if I would wear a rubber sleeve over that hamstring, could actually play through it a little bit, and I was able to play basketball better than I was able to play baseball at points with a bad hamstring. So I think they will sit him out game 2 because they won. And I think he's going to be okay for game 3.
Well, that'd be pretty awesome for Golden State. Like, obviously, the possibility of re-injuring or exacerbating would be in play there. By the way, Minnesota's 10.5 tomorrow night. We'll break it down further on tomorrow's show. That's the theme of these next three games in the NBA. 10.5, 10.5, 10.5.
Wow, look at that.
Across the board. We'll start in Boston tonight. Celtics are 10.5, 211.5 your total. I don't even know what to do with what happened in game one. Celtics had a 20-point lead. They were 15 of 60 from three and still should have won the game. I don't know. I mean, doesn't this kind of feel like a Boston bounce back tonight? Even though, again, Porzingis, this is the one thing to monitor here. Porzingis had to leave the game with an illness. Missoula said after the game that Porzingis has never really gotten fully back from that ailment that he had in March. It's May already. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this game, Kenny. I think this is a pure stay away. The only thing I'd consider would be betting Boston, but I don't know. You could stop playing. You could have a 25-point lead, and Boston could win the game by 7, and you don't cover 10.5.
I had looked at the numbers for Porzingis and Horford, and I was really surprised that Horford had way more minutes and that Porzingis didn't score, didn't play well. Yeah. And I thought that's not good because Porzingis is the better player of the two guys, and he's worth 2 points. So if he's not 100% and Horford's got to be your guy, it brings down the strength of the Celtic team that they're not as good. Porzingis is probably when he is going to play tonight. I had a big overplay on game one, was very fortunate to get overtime. Little unfortunate that they only scored 13 in overtime because the average is 21. But I was fortunate. I was over 212.5, so got a very, very nice unexpected win. Adjusted my numbers, and from the pace of the game and how it was played and from when the betting line was, I adjusted 10 points. I'm down to 226, but I have a 15-point play. I went over 210.5 here. As I mentioned to Alex on that game, because she pushed it, she went over 213. So, the Celtics shot 43% effective field goal percentage. And on the year, their effective field goal percentage was 57%. If they had shot 57%, they would have scored 119 points. So I don't think it was the Knicks defense. I just think it was just an off game. They were off 6 days. They didn't shoot well. And at home, their effective field goal percentage, 50. No, that's the playoffs, 52.4. Let me see what the regular season is. I know the Celtics at home got to even be better. Well, it's 56. So they actually have shot better on the road, but 56, 57%, kind of splitting hairs. I think they come out and they play their game. I think they get 119 tonight. There's not a lot of opportunities. The pace is it was 89 in game one. And during the regular season, I think the average pace was like 93, 94 between these two teams. But when the game gets tight late, like the game one did, the pace really slows down. I think this is a game where the Celtics have a double-digit lead and the game is played a lot quicker. I loved what I saw to the first and second quarter of game one. Both teams were trying to push as fast as they could when they had the opportunity to. So they know they've got to get out and transition. Both teams do. So, again, love it over tonight.
And then the other game on the board, Kenny, I really don't know what to do with either of these games, at least on my end, even though you're very much on that over in Boston. Oklahoma City's 10.5, totals 229.5. I don't know. I mean, Thunder, again, the Thunder had to do about 18 things wrong in order to blow that game, and they did 19 things in order to lose that game on the late 3 from Aaron Gordon to steal game 1 for Denver. I look at that and I'm like, wow. You expect OKC to bounce back, win comfortably tonight, but 10.5 with this Nuggets team against anyone feels super, super steep, doesn't it?
It really does. I only made the game 8.5. But you know that zigzag's got to be coming. I know. It has to. And these teams that are at home that now are down 0-1 have to win game 2. The only reason Cleveland didn't win game 2 was they were out three players. DeAndre Hunter was out. So you got no Mobley, you got no Hunter, and you got no Garland. I mean, that team is really a mass unit. Oklahoma City is not. Oklahoma City's ready to go. I think you're going to get a great effort out of them. And I think Oklahoma City wins the game. There's no way I'm laying the price, but there's no way I'm taking it. I will bet over, though. I think this is a game that you're going to see up tempo from both teams, and I think you're going to see a lot of scoring. Denver, again, playing with house money. They'll score. There's no doubt about it in my mind. So I'm an over guy today, Jeff.
You know, I was going to say this is completely opposite of where you usually go, but especially in the playoffs. But a pair of overs in the NBA for you tonight. And, you know, and I can't really argue with either look here tonight. Where if the Celtics had just shot average instead of horrific, way over,
just average.
Yeah, just average. Didn't even need a good shooting game. And this Denver OKC series could be a game that's played in the 230s pretty much every single game, 240 in game one.
As you made a case for Minnesota to revert back to
going to tomorrow,
Same thing with, it was only one game for the Celtics, but it's at home. I expect Tatum and Brown to shoot so much better tonight in this basketball game. I mean, they had open looks. I'm watching.
Hitting.
They had wide open looks that they just weren't making baskets. Now, I don't mind betting over in these NHL or NBA series early, game 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. But when it gets to game 5, 6, and 7, you're going to hear me start to make a case for unders. But I don't think I'll be able to make a case for either one of these unders in 5, 6, 7. I'm probably just going to be a stay off in these two series.
Game 2s tonight, OKC and Boston looking to get on the board here in their series tonight. Again, home team's 0-5 to begin round 2. First time that's ever happened in NBA history.
Have you bet any futures here in the NBA? Do you have anybody to win any series or to win it all?
All I have is I have a very early preseason 8-1 on Oklahoma City to win the whole thing.
Okay.
That's it. I don't have anything else.
Okay. So you're rooting for the Thunder here tonight to get the back. And
I mean, that was placed. Brian, we talked about that in October, didn't we? I mean, that was a long time ago.
That's a very talented team.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have left. That's all I have. I don't have anything else. And you know what? The only other team I'd even look at right now would be Indiana, because Indiana has one extra win from everybody else. But those numbers are shorter because of that. All right, we're going to take one last break. The whiteboard, the trivia question answer, and much more to end the show. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Kenny White. Kenny's getting the whiteboard ready, but we do have a trivia question. And Kenny, I'm curious if you remember this here on the trivia question. Which NBA team became the first 8 to beat a 1 in playoff history?
Oh, wow.
On this date in 1994. It was in the Western Conference.
Nuggets over the Lakers.
You got the team right. It was the Nuggets over the Sonics.
Oh, over the Sonics.
Back in the day. Dikembe Mutombo and company. Dikembe Mutombo, Robert Pack. Down 0-2, won 3 straight, knocked off the Seattle Sonics in Game 5. and Denver was able to pull that upset as the first 8-over-1. And remember, that was best of 5, too. So surprised it didn't happen before that with the randomness that you could get out of best of 5s. But remember, they expanded those playoffs in the 80s. In a shocking fashion, no upset on the answerer. It was JR. What is that, 5-0 for JR now? You know what, JR? I want to see JR go undefeated now this month. That's the test for JR. Can he go undefeated? I know it's too early. We're talking about the perfect game too early. Like in the bottom of the third inning right now, more so than anything. All right, Kenny, you ready with the whiteboard here for today? I'm
getting close. I want to make sure I have the right numbers. I don't want to go over and put a bad number out there.
While you're getting the correct number on your board here today, just programming notes for us. Of course, if you're watching us for the first time, Sports by the Book, right here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're here every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. start time, right to around about 11 in the morning. Myself and Alex all 5 days a week. Kenny's here with us Tuesday through Thursday. It's a Vinny Magliulo Friday this week, right, Ryan McCormick? Vinny Magliulo will be on set with us, Hall of Famer from behind the counter here at the South Point. You also saw Chris Andrews, who you now see every Wednesday morning and across the week here on the show. And the whiteboard is up, so I know we're ready to go here on a Wednesday morning. Ryan, you can go ahead with it here. The whiteboard. Kenny, what do we have here? Looks like we got a loaded board here on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and some overs. NBA, we just talked about the NBA, and I play my numbers. I trust my process and think this is a very good bet. Celtics shoot the ball is just average. What they normally get out of a game, over 211.5. Oklahoma City, Denver, again, I think it's an up-tempo game. I'm over there, over 229.5. The NHL, with Wool going in goal tonight for Toronto, Florida's offense, Toronto's offense over 5.5. Baseball, the Mets and Arizona. I think it's a really good pitching matchup. Again, the roof will be closed under 5, first 5. The Twins for the full game minus $1.30. And then the Tigers laying a 1.5 in Colorado minus 105.
It's a big card here for Kenny. Again, it's so weird to see you on so many overs, but
yeah,
that's just the way that the NBA, these matchups, at least with Boston and New York and OKC Denver, at least they're going to look. Again, for me, the only thing I'm on that I want to at least give out here tonight, Jets, series price, play it tonight. I think they will win game 1. So get on it now before that number disappears. Plus 160 still available here at the South Point. I still think that plus 155 that's readily available is good as well on the Winnipeg Jets to advance out of that Western Conference Series. All right. Good show.
Yes.
You're back with us tomorrow, Kenny. Hopefully Alex is feeling better. Hopefully she'll be back as well on the show tomorrow. Shout out to the crew, Jerry, Drew Dog, Sean, Ryan, and as always, Vince as well, remote here today. Kenny, good luck. Hope for a big day here on the loaded card on your board. I'm Jeff Parles. We'll see you again tomorrow. 10 a.m. Sports by the Book right here on the YouTube page, right here as always from the South Point, live in Las Vegas.